Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my E3 coverage. We're going to be talking about Lords of the Fallen in this particular video, and there should be some content in the background showing you some gameplay from it, because I did watch a couple of demos that were being showcased in the press booths throughout the convention centre. So what is Lords of the Fallen, you might be asking? Well, it's an action game. It's an action game that stresses on challenge, difficulty, and the feeling of succeeding and learning and conquering. So it is a very Dark Souls-esque or Souls games inspired approach to combat. To look at it, it kind of looks like a cross between Kingdoms of Amalur and like Darksiders. Only it looks better because it's on the next gen consoles, and the combat, I can't quite tell if I really like it or I don't. So the trailers that they've shown for this and the gameplay, it's always been the same kind of thing. It's been emphasising this notion of going up to this big enemy, the big enemy fucks you up, you die, you respawn, you run back, and you fight it again. And it's just, each time this guy fights it, he gets a little bit better or he dies to a new attack, and then on the 5th attempt, he's seen the attacks, he knows the attacks, and he wins. And it's this perseverance, it's this learning, it's this, this visceral combat, this intelligent combat rather than just mashing X to win. And I love that, because that's the thing I like about games. I like the punishment, I like the learning, and I like the conquering. But with the combat, immediately it looks Souls gamey because he's locking on, he's got a shield, he's got a weapon, it looks kind of slow and animation heavy, he's got rolls that are very Dark Souls-esque, he's got what looks like action commands after rolls where he does an attack and running attacks, so it almost looks like the inputs are directly taken from a Souls game. But then on top of that you have these super fancy animations which almost remind me of the Batman stuff, where you want Batman to do a short jab and he does a 7 pirouette into swan dive kick. And I'm really curious as to how much control you have over this stuff. And most recently, yesterday, I watched on IGN, I watched one of the developers give you a playthrough of the demo that they've got at the booth, and he was showing you some of the things that you could do. And the very first enemy, after he killed these two blind things, which looked really interesting, was this big fella, and he said that a lot of people were luring the big fella to fall through a hole that had these planks on it, which looked really good when he did it, but he decided to fight it. So he threw magic at it, which was super fast, super damaging, super lock-on, like fuck you, and then he waited for it to run towards him. It was charging him with its shield, and he did an attack, and for some reason he beat it, and I didn't get it at all. And what it makes me think is maybe it's going to have fighting game-esque frame priority. So maybe, like the shield as he runs, this character, he has to pull it back and swing before it becomes weaponized. And just the act of running isn't enough. So this producer knew this, and when he timed his attack, he hit this thing mid-run before it had chance to primer its own weapon. And it killed it. And it looked really interesting because it was a timing thing, and the game slowed down to show the timing and stuff like that, and I'm super curious as to what the hell that even means. And then he continued onwards, he found some armor sets, he showed you the difference between heavy armor and medium armor. Heavy armor gave you a super fat roll which looked completely useless, but it allowed you to block a lot more damage, and apparently the armor you wear will dictate how you can block, which I thought was a really interesting thing. Not the shield, but the more armor you have on, the more stability you have, and it gives you a better ability to block crazy high damage attacks. And he was blocking a boss later on thanks to the fact that he had this heavy armor on. And the thing I like about this is the light armor is going to be an emphasis on evasion and speed, where it can't block things. So it'll immediately separate playstyles, and it'll immediately separate skill levels, because there will be people that do not have the ability to play in light armor. And you know for a cert the first thing I'm doing is putting light armor on, because I do not give two shits about heavy armor and fat rolling. It's just not my thing. All I want to know that this game has right now is a parry feature, because I love parry / countering features, and I want to see more of it, and I want to understand more of it, because it looks super promising. All the enemies seem like they have character, that like they've been designed like there's some kind of strategy to them, and it will be different for everyone you fight. And For what they've shown, it seems like it's a lot of focus to detail, it's very interesting. If I had one gripe with what I've seen, it looked really linear and really thin. All the corridors and the rooms were super tiny, there was nothing that was of a larger scale, and it just makes me wonder, like, what the hell is this game going to be when it gets out of these dungeon environments? Or is that just the case? It never gets out of them, it's just constant Gauntlet-esque, corridor-to-corridor combat, which, if the combat is to a high level, and it looks like it could be fantastic. But if it isn't, what is the incentive to pick up this game when there are so many other titles right now vouching for your action game needs? You know, there's a lot of cool games coming, guys, and I really want Lords of the Fallen to be one of them that I recommend, but I just can't tell right now. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you're excited to see more, because I know I am. And as always, you take care now.